Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is the Deep Dive. My name is John Creekmur. I'm the Director of Advisory Services here at Creekmur Wealth, and I'm joined as always by John Creekmur, founder and senior wealth advisor. And John, today we're going to cover a lot of ground. We're getting close to tax filing deadline day. We also have some just items happening in the market. It's a volatile year so far in the
Mm.
stock market, so we want to walk through that. But before we get there, it's also opening day for Major League Baseball, John. So if you had to pick one team to make it to October, who are you picking at this point?
Well, so did I go with my favorite team or one that's realistically going to make it? Um,
I don't know if our favorite team's going to make it, unfortunately.
so we're Cardinal fans, have been for life, but and so that means we're true fans. Whenever you endure, long seasons. I know a lot of Cub fans endured a lot. They still endure a lot, it seems like. But and so I'd love it to see if the Cardinals would make it. But yeah, I don't think so. We're in a nice fresh rebuild year that I'm kind of excited about. But you could go with the easy ones and say I think that it's going to be LA that's going to make it. I'm going to call it's going to be Boston on the American League side. There's some good off-season acquisitions, and um, and I think they're going to beat Seattle to make it into the from the AL Championship game. And
Okay.
on the National League, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go I think that Pittsburgh's getting the wild card, and so
Oh,
I think they're gonna lose the National League championship game, and Skinnis is gonna throw it crazy, and I think they're gonna beat the Dodgers. No, I think that they'll lose to the Dodgers. So I think the Dodgers will be in the World Series also.
okay. All right. Well, hey, there we go. We will book it. We'll revisit this in October and see where we end up. So,
Right,
uh,
right.
but good deal. Well, John, before we hop into things, we wanted to give everyone a heads up for really our flagship event of the year that is
Mm,
upcoming here on April the 23rd. This is an event that we host in Central Illinois every single year. So we have clients in that area who can attend in person. But John, we also live stream this around the country. So all of our clients can watch this. There's a lot of great information that we cover
mm,
in this event that's called True Wealth Live. And so, John, why don't you just kind of give us a snapshot of what this event is, what
yeah.
people can expect?
I think we started as that in 2021, and it has grown massively over the last 4 years. And last year we had, goodness, there's over 2,000 people that watched the live stream. And so it gets a tremendous amount of following. This year, I'm surprised over 4 or 5,000 people from all over the country. Actually, we had people watching from outside the United States, actually. And so it is very interesting. And I think that really speaks to the content that's presented, the way in which we present it. But this year, we're going to talk about just some of the unsettled times in the markets. And there's a lot of things moving on right now. So domestically, there's a number of things, policy changes. We have a tax law that was changed. We have some economic numbers that are not real strong, quite honestly. And so we're walking through all of that. How does that play out? We're also going to talk about some geopolitical things that are happening. But a lot of it is going to have to do with the theme of what happens under the surface. You need to be aware of it because all of a sudden when it bubbles up to the surface, it's almost too late to make decisions. And
Yeah.
so kind of think of it like when it's an earthquake that happens under the ocean. That all of a sudden causes a wiggle wave called a tsunami, huge destruction. But what if you had advance warning? What if you had an alternative plan? We're really talking about how you navigate whenever things get unsettled. And right now is a big year. Drew. This is also a midterm election year.
Yeah.
And I forget the exact number. Something like 14 of the last 17 midterm election years have been negative in the market. And we also know coming off 2 or 3 very positive years in the market, we're kind of set up for a pullback, and we've seen volatility really run wild this year. So we're covering all that. We're going to have some special speakers coming in. It's going to be a great night.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, be on the lookout. If you're able to attend the event in person, you'll be receiving an invitation in the mail. We'll also be sending emailed invitations as well to sign up for the live stream. And you will also likely be hearing from your advisors just with some more information on the event as we get closer to that date. So, really looking forward to seeing you all and putting that night on. It's going to be a great evening. Now, John, let's kind of shift gears here. We're coming up on April the 15th, tax filing deadline day. And I personally have not even started my taxes yet, so I need to get hopping on that. But we always want to revisit around this time of year. I know we all hate paying taxes, it's never fun to do it. But, John, there's some really important key financial planning things that
Yeah.
everyone should be doing shortly after tax filing deadline day. And so, we kind of
Mm.
walk us through just your thoughts on maybe the difference between what is tax preparation and what is tax planning.
Yeah. So two key words there, preparation and planning. Drew, you brought up. So tax preparation, that's really a recording of history. And so you're looking at all your documents together. You're saying what happened in the last 12 months, so the full calendar year, and what was your income, what was your expenses, what was your deductions, and you're simply recording that, and then you're paying the appropriate level of tax. Tax planning is when you really start to say, hey, what's happening this year? What's happening next year? What's happening in the coming years? Let's go ahead and figure out what are some decisions that we can make that would actually decrease overall taxation, both for the current year and also for all the future years. And so a lot of times people think about their taxes from the middle of January to the middle of April. But the reality is, once the middle of April comes and goes, that's when you really want to start ramping up your discussion as far as what are decisions that you can make to decrease taxes. And Drew, this is a critical thing. We know with the latest tax law change that went into effect last year, there is some tremendous planning opportunities a lot of folks not even aware of. But we also have things on the horizon that are coming up that you make sure you plan for. Drew, we you and I always talk about surveys and feedback from clients, and we've heard for so many years about how clients really want to integrate in their wealth plan as far as their investment management, along with their tax planning and tax preparation. And this year, Drew, we actually rolled full out. So we acquired a firm down in Virginia and in Roanoke. We brought on some CPAs, we brought on tax planners, and we've had some phenomenal feedback of incredible amount of taxes saved already. And then also people getting their taxes prepared in a more accurate fashion with better communication than what they've received in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that combination, John, of preparation and planning, that's going to lead to huge results for everyone that we work with. And so, what I would encourage you all to do, whether you're having our team do your tax preparation in house, or maybe you work with an outside preparer, definitely connect with your advisor sometime April through June, and bring your tax return in or email it over to your advisor. And our team will actually take a deep dive look at what strategies can we implement to reduce taxes in the here and now, but also reduce that long-term taxation on dollars as well. And then we can reconnect with your advisor and start walking through implementing some of those strategies. And like John said, we have a hit list of some of the top opportunities that are out there that applies to a lot of the folks that we work with. And now we have those CPAs and enrolled agents in-house to help execute upon that. So definitely take advantage of that. It's a conversation service with your advisor. They'll also be bringing that up with you as well. Now, John, we want to talk about markets and economics. We don't want to talk about it every single time we do a deep dive, but right now with so much volatility going on in the world around us, we think it's important to just be walking through what we're watching on a daily basis, what we're seeing big picture. Across the board, we've made proactive changes inside of all of our clients' accounts, and the results have been really, really strong so far this year, with the vast majority of our clients flat, maybe slightly negative, down 1%, maybe 2%, while the market's down over 5% so far this year. And so, John, why don't you just kind of walk through really what's standing out to you right now as we're getting close to the end of the first quarter here this year?
Yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff going on right now, and Drew, you had mentioned that we made some proactive moves. We actually started making some moves last November as far as inside investment portfolios because we saw a lot of stuff going down as far as when we started looking at not just the markets, but listening to what's happening there, but what's happening under the surface in the markets. And so we made some adjustments, and we're everything from a little bit positive to some pretty heavy positive returns, depending upon how each our clients are allocated and what their risk level is and their goal objectives. And yet, it's time period when we see the markets S&P 500 at one point this last week was down 4.5% year to date. Our core ETF strategy is actually still a bit positive year to date, and so we're seeing some tremendous movements there. But a lot of it is it's not looking at headline numbers, but it's actually looking at economically. We start there and we look to say, what are we seeing from growth in the economy? What are we seeing as far as risk in the economy? What are we seeing as far as with federal government regulations and state regulations? How is that playing out as far as for stimulating or slowing down the economy? What's the Federal Reserve doing? Not just raising lower interest rates, what are they doing actually putting dollars into the system, taking dollars out of the system? And so all of that gives us an indication. But then we start to listen to the stock market and to say under the surface to say what's actually happening there. And what we're seeing actually is a slowdown in momentum. We are, as far as in the U.S. based equity stocks, we're seeing actually an increase in momentum In certain value-oriented stocks, we're seeing even with what's happening over in Iran, we are still seeing momentum across the board internationally in certain areas. And so, it's just created tremendous opportunities. And a lot of it is just not being reactionary, but ability to kind of being really active as far as in your analysis. And so we think there's tremendous opportunities, but the opportunities are not coming from sitting still, but they're coming from being where it's moving and making some adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. And those adjustments really have been very beneficial for everyone across the board. I'm sure you've been talking with your advisors about that. Our team's been doing a great job on behalf of all of you. And actually, John, at True Wealth Live, this is a topic we're going to dive deeper into as to how do we use the math of the market to help us make better, more informed, and really proactive decisions ahead of some of those big shifts, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier. And so, folks, what I would encourage you to do is if you haven't heard from your advisor recently, definitely reach out to them. But if you have an outside investment account, like a retirement plan at work, a 401k, a 403b, or maybe a brokerage account that's been with a firm since maybe you inherited it, or it's just been hanging out there, definitely connect with your advisor and have them do a deep dive and analyze how that fits as part of your overall portfolio and see if any adjustments need to be made on those outside accounts to make sure that you're protected for what we believe is going to be kind of a volatile year in the months ahead. And that's a really important thing to do to make sure you stay on track to achieving those big picture financial goals that you all have. So definitely get in touch with our team. Now, John, we covered a lot of ground here, so we don't want to keep droning on and keep talking. But what is just front of mind for you? Just one takeaway for all of us to go into the week ahead.
I'll tell you what, whenever you see volatility happening, it can be unsettling. But those are the times when you can actually increase your net worth. You can add extra stability to as far as to your steps. And what you want to do is you reach out and talk to your wealth advisor, your wealth advisors, to find out what action steps you can take now to position you to actually thrive whenever things kind of go haywire. And so I know I taught all of our advisors that these are the seasons which you can help your clients not just not make a bad decision, but actually make a good decision and position them in a better spot. And so make sure you reach out. Tremendous opportunities right now to be reallocating some dollars, and I'd encourage you to reach out and make sure you have those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for the time, y'all. Definitely keep an eye out for the invitation to True Wealth Live, which will be coming your way here in the next couple of weeks. And otherwise, if you have any questions, reach out to our team. We're more than happy to help in any way that we can. So thanks for the time. Have a great week.